Special Issue Task Force, how can I help you? And joining us in the studio for Special Issue Task Force is Hyung.
Hey yo, it's Jason Mraz. Guys, remember he called my husband romantic, but it turned out that SJ is real romantic guy. He used to
it's
sing
not true.
Jason Mraz's "I'm Yours."
It's not true if I don't
while
remember.
While playing guitar to his wife.
I remember doing that when we were dating, but I just don't remember me singing.
Really? On Saturday?
Yes.
So his wife started to complain that, oh, my husband used to sing for me, but not anymore. And then all of a sudden, he just started singing.
Well, you done me and I bet I felt
pretending he's playing guitar at the same time.
You're so hot that I melted. I reckon it's like my turn.
Oh, you're good. And he was good, actually. So that was impressive.
I don't remember.
But today, you're saying that, oh, maybe I should get married to another woman.
간미연.
She's married too, just because
I got married first, but I thought I was going to get married. I thought I was going to get married to 간미연.
간미연?
Yes.
Until when?
Until, like college.
Really?
Yeah.
You were that
I was
unrealistic.
Like, no, I was like, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to make a lot of money, and I'm going to get married to 간미연.
Wow.
And then it changed. Ooh. I started liking someone else. Like 문채원.
Usually, teenagers think that way.
No, it's just...
They want to marry their, favorite girl group member or boy group member, but... until college.
Yes, I wasn't rich enough to get married.
No, the reason why he got married to his current wife is because you loved her.
I don't know.
So
after today's show, I don't know how much current is going to be afterwards. But
I know. I'm gonna tell his wife. Should I?
They became friends. You know how dangerous that is, guys.
언니, SJ가 오늘 방송에서요.
They're close friends. No, they came over. This is the second time they came over. They're lovely to have.
We had so much fun.
Our kids love each other and they have fun. I just don't remember any of that stuff. Let's begin with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung's visit to New York. Began on September 22nd, Monday local time. Emphasis on international diplomacy, investment promotion, Korea's emerging global responsibilities. This is big. Again, he's making his debut at the UN General Assembly. Let's get the key components of President Lee's agenda over there in New York.
But before we dive into today's first topic, our producer said he wants to join next time.
Oh, to my wine party? That would actually, that would be fun. That would be fun.
You should bring your wife to 피디님.
Oh, but he's... I would invite him. I would invite him.
You would?
I would.
He's your boss.
I would.
Yeah, but maybe.
But he doesn't even drink, though.
A little bit awkward.
No. I don't feel him that way. I mean, he is my boss. But I don't feel uncomfortable around him.
All right.
He's invited.
I'll look forward to it.
Yeah. But anyways.
President Lee Jae-myung arrived in New York on Monday local time to begin a 3-night, 5-day trip. And the core pieces of his itinerary include first meetings with high-level financial and political figures, among them Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock. They actually met today, and plus members of the U.S. Congress, both House and Senate. And this meeting serves central to the investment promotion part of the trip. And second, on Tuesday local time, Lee is scheduled to deliver the keynote speech at the United Nations General Assembly. In this speech, he is expected to formally declare Korea's return to democratic nation, emphasize South Korea's role in contributing to major global challenges like peace on the Korean Peninsula, climate change, artificial intelligence, energy transition, and more. And also anticipated is a call for international cooperation toward the denuclearization and urging North Korea to come to dialogue.
You mentioned the UN speech, but I heard President Lee is also set to do something no Korean leader has done before. Tell us about this.
Yes. On Wednesday, in a historic move, he will preside over an open debate of the UN Security Council, marking the first time a Korean president has done so. And this is connected with Korea's chairmanship of the UN Security Council this year. And there are several bilateral meetings planned as well with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, as well as leaders from France, Italy, Uzbekistan, Czech Republic, and Poland. And finally, on Thursday, President Lee will hold a Korea Investment Summit on Wall Street, meeting with financial sector leaders and Korean business people to promote Korean economic interest abroad before returning home. And these are not just ceremonial, they are intentionally set to project Korea as both a place of investment and a partner in solving global challenges.
Yeah, so Korea has the rotating chairmanship at the UN Security Council this month, so for a month. So it landed perfectly, right? I think the last time that Korea had the chairmanship was 15 months ago.
Right.
So that was not on the time that they have the UN General Assembly, and so all of that have. But also Lee Jae-myung, President Lee, he's a very good talker.
Yes, yes.
What does this visit tell us about how South Korea is positioning itself in the global stage, especially under the Lee administration and his leadership? How does this compare with maybe some of the other previous administrations?
Well, it signals a few shifts. First, international contribution and responsibility. The visit underscores the desire for Korea to be seen not merely as a reactor to global events, but as a proposer, someone offering solutions for global challenges like climate change, again, energy transition, AI, and digital ethics. And that reflects a broader trend among middle powers like South Korea to take more proactive roles. And second, peace on the Korean Peninsula by calling for denuclearization and dialogue with North Korea. While seeking international cooperation, President Lee is continuing the long-standing concern, but in a way that aims to align Korea more visibly with multilateral frameworks. And third, by engaging with global finance like BlackRock, U.S. investor, and hosting IR investment roadshows, Korea is reinforcing that it wants to attract foreign direct investment, not just export goods. And plus, President Lee is also expected to touch upon South Korea's soft power and cultural influence. And while the main agenda of his visit remains political and economic, Korea's growing global presence in culture through music, film, etc., suggests that culture is becoming an increasingly important pillar in shaping diplomatic engagements.
No, if you remember, even during the former Moon administration, like it just reminds me of. I mean, President Lee also did come to Arirang, right, to talk about K-wave and culture and stuff like that. But it was also during the previous Moon administration that he really pushed for soft power.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of soft power. It works.
Too.
It works. Okay. And so it worked really well during the Moon administration. And he's going to continue to push on that right now, especially given the fact that, again, I mean, more and more people around the world are accepting Korean culture, the music, the drama, the films, books also.
Right,
so
and
this
a lot
is
of people actually want to visit Korea.
Yeah,
thanks
definitely
to the
so.
cultural impacts.
So when we talk about the UN role in the General Assembly speech, many will believe that one of the most immediate question, obviously, is going to be North Korea.
Yes.
I know that Kim Jong-un delivered a high-profile speech in Pyongyang. How does that rhetoric affect President Lee's strategy in New York, and what are the implications for Seoul's role now in the peace process, especially with now the more progressive government?
Well, Kim Jong-un's recent remarks delivered at the Supreme People's Assembly in Pyongyang sent a very clear and uncompromising message. He, on one hand, expressed a personal nostalgia for President Trump, saying he would not rule out meeting Trump if Washington abandoned what he called an unrealistic insistence on denuclearization and instead accepted a form of peaceful coexistence. But on the other hand, perhaps most striking to Seoul was his explicit framing of the two Koreas as two states that can never become one, and his rejection of any negotiations that treat South Korea as a partner rather than a U.S.-aligned entity. So experts say Seoul must avoid being reduced to a bystander in greater power discussions about the peninsula. And President Lee once remarked during his summit with President Trump that if Trump became a peacemaker, he would serve as a pacemaker, doing everything he could do to help. Lee appears to see Trump as a channel through which peace on the Korean peninsula might be pursued rather than forcing direct talks with North Korea, whose leadership continues to reject dialogue and deliver sharp criticism towards South Korea. Many believe it's a clever strategy, but it doesn't mean South Korea can afford to step back and remain a bystander. And Seoul must still assert its own role and make sure its voice is central in shaping the peninsula's future. So ultimately, Kim's recent speech signals that Pyongyang intends to harden its position and to codify separation rhetorically. And President Lee's challenge in New York, therefore, is twofold: to rally multilateral support for denuclearization and peace, and to ensure South Korea remains a proactive player in any process concerning the peninsula, rather than being pushed to sidelines by great power dynamics.
You have to understand what worked in the past. And when we came very close to peace on the Korean Peninsula, former President Moon Jae-in at the time, I don't know if you guys remember the Time magazine.
Mediator.
The mediator, right, exactly. He played a very, very big role as mediator in trying to form this U.S.-North Korea summit. And, there was a number of it. Obviously, unfortunately, it didn't end with a peace deal.
Yeah, he said while playing the role of mediator, we have to be seated in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now President Lee Jae-myung has to do the same thing right now and play that mediator role, but maybe even beyond that, because just a mediator role wasn't enough back during the Moon administration.
Right.
Just very quickly, usually when presidents go overseas, over to New York or over to the U.S., they usually do like a foreign media interview. I know that he gave an interview to Reuters just ahead of this visit. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, in that interview, he addressed the economic pressures tied to U.S. demands, and specifically, Washington has been pushing for Korea to commit up to $350 billion in investment in cash. And President Lee responded candidly, saying that if Korea were to accept such a demand, it could potentially trigger a financial crisis at home, like the one during the Asian financial crisis back in late 90s. And his remarks highlight the delicate balance Korea faces, being a responsible global partner while safeguarding its own economic stability. And it underscores that his New York trip is not just about diplomacy and speeches, but also protecting national interest.
That's right. Again, as the UN General Assembly happens and we get more news out of it, maybe something that we might be covering next week. We'll have to see. Anyways, as we move into our next issue, we're going to take a short song break. This is BTS with Permission to Dance. To dance, and that's because BTS had the permission to dance at the UN.
UN headquarters.
Yeah, that's long ago. Wow, it seems like a forever long time ago, but it's actually not.
A few years ago.
John says, I think Seoul would be better asking Dennis Rodman to help mediate some talks with Kim Jong-un. I have an interesting story. I met Dennis Rodman.
Oh.
I met Dennis Rodman when he came back from North Korea.
Wow. How?
And
on air?
Not on air. He was doing an interview with Arirang, and I went to see him.
Oh.
And he looks at me and he goes...
With permission to
yes,
participate?
with permission. And he goes, you look like someone I know.
Someone I just met.
I was like, oh, geez, Dennis, I wonder who it is.
He really said that?
Yeah. He sounds like this.
Like, as a joke, right?
He was as a joke. We're going to delve into a pressing issue that has shaken South Korea's digital landscape. A series of major cybersecurity breaches involving SK Telecom. We heard about that. KT and then Lotte card. I mean, these incidents have compromised the personal data of millions, raising concerns about the nation's cybersecurity infrastructure. Let's talk about this.
Yes, let's start with SK Telecom. We dealt with this issue before. In April, the company reported a significant data breach affecting nearly 27 million users. And SK Telecom's breach was one of the most severe in recent history. Hackers exploited vulnerabilities in the company's internal network, accessing sensitive data such as USIM, authentication keys, IMSI numbers, and phone numbers. And the breach went undetected for an extended period, and the company faced criticism for its delayed response and inadequate security measures. And KT users who once felt relieved when the SK incident occurred also had to go through similar anger and anxiety. KT experienced unauthorized micropayments linked to a compromised micro base station. And initially, Initially, the company downplayed the incident, but further investigations revealed that customer data might have been exposed. And this breach highlights vulnerabilities in the telecom sector's infrastructure once again. And then there's Lottecard. Lottecard's breach is particularly concerning. Hackers accessed sensitive information of approximately 3 million customers, including payment histories and personal details. And the breach was not detected promptly, but the company is now facing heavy criticism over its cybersecurity practices.
I mean, anytime you talk about credit card companies being breached, that's a little bit scary.
Right.
I mean, luckily, I don't use that, although I use SK Telecom. Do you use SK Telecom?
I do. And
Did you
I
change
also
the USIM?
No, I didn't.
I didn't change it neither. I was just like, there was like long waits. And
I was too lazy to go and stay in the long line or hold on the phone
And I was
just
like,
to
I'm not-
ask for the change.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not important enough for them to take away all these information. What are they gonna steal? You know, like how much wine I drank? Like, like it's nothing, right? And I don't get. And jokes on you, not a lot of money in my bank neither.
How much you spend on wines
Oh,
and
actually,
then tell your wife maybe?
Snap. Actually, that's kind of scary. That's actually kind of scary. But these incidents span across major telecom and financial institutions. Why are these sectors being targeted specifically, though?
Well, telecom and financial sectors are prime targets because they handle vast amounts of personal and financial data. And hackers can exploit this information for fraudulent activities. Additionally, these industries have complex infrastructures, making them susceptible to sophisticated cyber attacks. And given the frequency and scale of these breaches, the government has acknowledged the seriousness of the situation, and Prime Minister Kim Min-seok has pledged to overhaul data protection system in telecom and financial companies. And agencies like the Financial Services Commission and the Personal Information Protection Commission are conducting investigations and implementing measures to prevent future incidents. And there are also coordinated efforts among government agencies to address these challenges. Currently, cybersecurity oversight is fragmented across various agencies, leading to delayed responses. And experts are advocating for the establishment of a unified cybersecurity control tower to streamline efforts and enhance national security.
I mean, that's just the thing. I mean, South Korea is known. It's a known IT powerhouse,
Right.
and oftentimes, you know, even white hat hackers, they win competitions, but the only country that always wins ahead of South Korea, North Korea.
Right.
But even with this, it's not necessarily North Korean hackers that are hacking into it. It's like South Korean hackers hacking into it, getting all the database and stuff like that. But turning to the companies involved, Seong, what steps are they taking to rectify the situation?
Well, SK Telecom has been fined approximately $96.5 million and is investing heavily in cybersecurity infrastructure. And KT and Lottecard are conducting internal reviews and cooperating with authorities to assess the full extent of the breaches and implement corrective measures. And I also would like to share some tips for the average consumers like us, what kind of precautions we should take to protect ourselves. Consumers should be vigilant, regularly monitor bank and credit card statements, and use strong and unique passwords, not 1234 or 12345. Enable two-factor authentication if possible, and be cautious of unsolicited communications requesting personal information like text messages.
These days, the texts come so realistically that they'll phish you. And I remember one time I got a message from KB Bank. I don't even have KB Bank. And it said, you know when you spend money, it tells you how much you spend, you get a text message. But it was saying that it spent something amount in Vietnam.
Oh.
And then it said how much money I had left over in the checking account.
But you don't even own a KB Bank.
Number one, I don't have a KB Bank, and number two, I didn't have that much money in my bank. I was like, I wish I had this much.
You didn't go to Vietnam.
No, I didn't. That's the other thing. So what they do is they tell you to call the number to rectify the situation. If you didn't spend the money, call this number, and that's when they steal everything. They steal everything through that.
So clever.
You have to be very, very careful. But Looking ahead, what measures can be implemented to prevent such breaches?
Well, companies need to prioritize cybersecurity by investing in robust systems and conducting regular audits. And the government should establish a centralized cybersecurity agency to coordinate efforts and enforce strict regulations. And public awareness campaigns also can play a crucial role in educating citizens about cybersecurity best practices, especially those in their 60s or 70s senior citizens.
Yeah. Not to mention, and we're going to be talking about this next, but also with the Chuseok holiday. Usually with Chuseok holidays, there's a lot of text messages that come. That's when most of the voice phishing or text message phishings do happen, and they do target the older population, right? So you have to be very, very careful.
Have you ever received a call, like voice phishing?
My wife did. She got a call from the Cheonnam police station saying that your husband did something and then you have to pay the fine for him to be released. And I'm there in the couch watching television.
Really? Oh.
It's pretty ridiculous. But some of them are more realistic.
She was lucky. She was lucky. You were there at home. So she knew that it was fake.
But also Cheonnam?
All of a sudden.
Why would I be in Cheonnam? That's weird. It's like some people are just not smart.
Maybe to host an event. Maybe.
Yeah, but she would know that I'd be there, right? Anyways, we'll continue to talk about some of the major issues happening in the past 7 days. But first, this is The Boys with The Stealer. Speaking of Steelers, Herring and I were talking about something serious like voice phishing stuff. So the craziest thing that I've seen, and luckily my dad, he uses KT, and then apparently KT has this thing where it tells you if something is very suspicious and they block it from doing stuff. And so what it is they somehow got access to all the people that he has on the phone book, right? And so someone he knows text messages him and says, my father had just passed away. And you know when usually someone passes away, you get a link.
Yes.
Nowadays, everything is in a link. And you click on it and it shows you where it is and where to go. And if you click on that link, it basically downloads all your bank information.
Is it possible?
So my dad, thinking because it was a name that he knows, and he's one of those, he clicked on it.
Oh.
But luckily, KT has a system in place where if it's too suspicious, they block it. And then he was like, oh, this is weird. And then he called the person and said, did your dad pass away? And he was like, yeah, 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Oh
so it was, so luckily there are sometimes programs in place that stop it.
Right.
But they get very, very smart with this stuff. And even though you think you're not going to get tricked, you might.
That's not the case every time. So we have to be very, very careful.
Exactly. The reason we talk about this is because also with this coming up, there's also some voice phishing in regards to this. But on Monday, the second round of applications for the Livelihood Recovery Consumption Coupon began. I signed up yesterday, got my money today.
Already? Wow.
I got my 100,000, which is probably going to go to Pokemon cards. This initiative aiming to provide financial assistance to individuals facing economic hardships, but mostly mom and pop stores and small companies, small stores, businesses.
We briefly talked about it last week, but since its application period officially kicked off this week, yesterday, I've brought more detailed information today. And let's start with the basics. What distinguishes the second round of the People's Livelihood Recovery Consumption Coupon from the first one? The key difference is in the amount and target population. The amount, you already mentioned it. While the basic support amount in the first round was 150,000 won per person in general, the second round provides a basic support of 100,000 won per person. And the first round of the fund was distributed to all citizens across the country, providing universal support. Though the amount of fund varied depending on conditions like which regions you are living in or where you are, or whether you are a single parent or not. But in contrast, the second round excludes the top 10% of owners, focusing instead on the remaining 90% of the population. And this ensures that support is concentrated on those who are more likely to need financial support.
So in contrast to what all of you guys think I am, I received it, which means I am not part of the 10%.
That's also because you have 2 kids.
No. So because I'm a foreigner, they did not add me into the list. So my wife got hers and our 2 kids, but mine was not included, and I had to do mine separately.
Right.
And so I got just single.
Congrats,
Yes.
Jay. And you're going to spend the money for your son?
And my son probably. Little Pokemon cards. But how many of our listeners might be wondering though, like again, like am I eligible?
Right.
Right? Like you just never know. Like am I part of the top 10%? Am I not? How can one determine if they qualify?
Well, eligibility is determined based on income levels, household composition, and other socioeconomic factors, but the criteria can be very complex. So the most straightforward way to find out is to apply. The application process is designed to be inclusive, ensuring that no one is left behind. And if you happen to fall in the first 10% category, you will be automatically notified that you are not eligible to receive money. So now moving on to the usage of the funds, the second round differ from the first in terms of permissible expenditures as well. In the first round, the funds were primarily restricted to specific categories, but the People's Recovery Consumption Coupons can only be used at specific locations to support small businesses again and boost local economies. For example, local gift certificate were usable at affiliated stores. Card payments, people were able to use them at stores with annual sales under 3 billion won. But large supermarkets, department stores, online shopping malls, and directly operated franchise stores were excluded. And for the second round, where you can use the coupon, is mostly the same, but this time, in order to promote consumption of eco-friendly agricultural products, coupons can be used at local cooperatives, even if annual sales exceed 3 billion won. And this is especially helpful for seniors living in smaller towns who often do most of their shopping at these stores. And we're living in cities, so convenience stores are everywhere, but that's not the case for them. And actually, when the first round of support payments went out, many older residents in rural villages found it hard to use the money with no stores nearby. They had to take the few buses available to reach the town center just to buy essentials. And additionally, military personnel currently serving can also use the coupons near their service locations rather than being restricted to the address on their resident registration.
Right.
And you have to spend it all until November 30th, 2025, both the first and second round. And any unused balance will be forfeited. Forfeited.
So this is the big thing is that like I can't be using my voucher here in Seoul. I'm not a resident of Seoul.
경기도. You have to spend it in Gyeonggi-do province.
In Gyeonggi-do province, and I think it's more specifically, it might have to be like our city, like Anyang.
Anyang.
So I did this whole thing, like my wife and I, in the first 150, because she received 450, right, with her and 2 kids.
Yes.
And she was like, I'm going to use this to pay for Aaron's English Academy. And I was like, no, you're not, because they don't need that money. And she was like, but it's money. I said, no, I want you to spend it on people that actually need it.
But it's helping her, your wife.
But I was saying, like, we were going to pay that money anyways.
Because I also spent some of it for Raoni's piano.
But is that piano academy small?
Small. It's
See, that's
small.
the thing. So, and then so she said, can I spend this on the piano academy? And I said, yes, that piano academy is pretty small. I think they could use the money.
And it just opened mine.
Yes. And so that's okay. And I promised our listeners I wasn't using any of the money to buy wine.
Oh, good job.
Because it doesn't cover any of the wines that I drink. It's too expensive.
Okay.
150 doesn't cover.
That makes sense.
No, but I didn't. I really didn't. And so I spent it on like local, stores, convenience stores.
But you spent some for your own pleasure at convenience stores, right?
I did, but only because
something that's not very healthy.
No. But you know what it is though?
What?
Mine is only on credit card. So I registered on the credit card. And it automatically uses it.
Right.
Like even if you don't want to.
The coupon first.
Yeah. So let's say I don't want to use it. I can't choose not to.
Right. You have to use it anyway.
So it's not my fault. That's the moral of the story.
You could have used a different card.
Very quickly though, speaking of usage though, what were some of the most common expenditures during the first round? Very quickly.
Well, during the first round, many recipients used the funds for essential items like groceries and utility bills, and there was also a notable portion allocated to healthcare-related expenses, reflecting the public's concerns during that period. And now, for those interested in applying, applications can be submitted online through the official government portal, and it's a user-friendly process, and assistance is available for those who need it. So I highly encourage everyone to apply, as it's the best way to determine eligibility.
What are you gonna do with
Receive
your?
it and spend it.
What are you gonna spend your money on? Academy again?
Academy and
I'm gonna get a haircut.
Academy and Academy.
I'm gonna get a haircut.
Haircut is a good idea.
I'm due for a haircut, and the haircut place that I go to, I think they accept it because they don't make that much money.
Oh, and I'm planning to spend some at convenience stores because these days convenience stores are presenting a lot of good deal, hot deal.
No, but
products.
the convenience stores near the one under my apartment, that the big place, they're making so little money.
Oh,
They're
why?
bleeding money. The owner's working second job just to support the. So I have
So
to
you have to
them out.
help him out.
I have to help him out.
By the way, you're lucky that you're living in 편제권.
What's that?
편제권. Your house is there's a convenience
Convenience
stores right in front of your house.
Well, you're lucky you live in Gangnam.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I would change that anytime. Live in Gangnam and not have a 편의점. Anyways, Hae-young, as always, thank you very much for this. Have a fantastic rest of your night. We'll see you again next week.
I'll see you next week.
All right, sending her out of the studio. Let's take a listen to a song from Sonamu with I Like You Too Much, 넘나 좋은 것.